Welcome everybody. Y'all ready for this? The Hustle. My name is Steve Armopoulos, and these are my co-hosts. I'm Talia.
And I'm Tech Luciano. You may have heard me on radio, you may have never heard of me at all, but that's okay.
Y'all gon' learn today. Your whole life was a struggle, had to make it out the jungle. This is a show for you. Welcome to the hustle. Under pressure, never break a fold. Keep chasing your goals until you blow. Now, welcome to the hustle.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Hustle Podcast.
Look at that. 3 in a row. 3 in a row.
3 in a row. And today we have a very special guest.
Yeah, man.
I haven't seen this guy for 10 years. I met him one time 10 years ago. We got Sean Maloney in the building, a.k.a. Sean Keys. I had to say it
FKA Sean Keys.
FKA.
Break it down, man.
FKA. You're right.
Break it down.
You know what I mean? You can't forget about the past. So
Sounds good.
welcome to the show. And I think Tech needs to pump this up a little more because
pump it up.
Because you know Sean well
You'll
more
lead the pack.
than I do. So
Pump it up. You said
Pump it up.
you said the right words. No, so listen, man. This is actually a special interview for me. Me and Sean, we go back 20 years. 20 years, about that.
So check it out. My daughter was born,
Yeah.
right, 2006.
So before that, I knew you
She
before.
just started college.
Yeah.
I dropped her off to college this year. She's 17.
That's crazy.
So at least 17 years, man.
Well, so little backstory. In the early stages of my rap career, I was in a group called Famine, and Famine actually at one point, you know, we were
100 chip.
we did win #1 in the city in 2007. So yeah, I'm dating myself, but you know, fairly successful little rap collective. And long story short, I was about 14 when I joined the movement. Sean was already a part of the movement back then, going by the name Nastiness, which we're going back a ways, and that's where me and Sean met. You know, that was a very impressionable time in my life, and it was crazy because you and shout out to Emo. We got to shout out Emo because he was obviously part of the movement.
Morgan Little.
Yeah, man, big up. And you know,
ups.
you guys were considerably older than I was at the time, so I got to grow up pretty fast being around you guys, which was, you know, honestly, looking back, some of the best moments of my life were spent with you guys. Just getting to be a teenager amongst adults, and you know, living out some things that maybe a teenager shouldn't have been doing, but fuck it, we had a whole lot of fun. So honestly, all jokes aside, man, it's really good to see you, bro. And listen, you know, we're gonna get into it. I know you have quite the story to tell. You've been through some things in your life, and you have a message that you adamantly wanted to get across, which is what led to this interview. And I'm happy to provide a platform for you to be able to do that. So with no further ado, Sean Maloney in the building. It's gonna take a while for me to get used to saying Sean Maloney, but welcome to the hustle, sir.
That's it. Maybe that could be the first topic, right?
Yeah.
That's my gov. That's my real name.
Yeah.
Look, you kind of brought up when we met each other.
Yeah.
Me, I'm glad to say I've spent half my life this year in Montreal, right?
Yeah.
Came here just a little bit before 19, turning 38.
That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? Almost 2 decades here. I was born and raised just north of Ottawa on the Quebec side. And I became a city boy, moved to Ottawa. at
South Ottawa, right?
9 years old, right?
remember.
South side Ottawa,
I
Westboro,
remember.
shout out. So as a kid growing up, man, I was doing graph.
Yeah.
I was heavy in the graph scene, right? That was like the beginning of my badassness,
Mm-hmm.
slipping out at night, you know, with the cans, just trying to get my name out. Just, you know, I was always a little like eccentric, right? 'Cause,
Yeah.
being an artist, right? And I was always just trying to find that place where I could still kind of at least feel normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And being good at those things, whether it was skateboarding, snowboarding, like this is the evolution.
Yeah.
I think I broke my leg at one point, had a cast, BMXing, because I could still
There you go,
BMX,
with one
right?
leg, yeah.
Back in the day, we were making videos, right? Technology wasn't like it was. I'm
No,
sounding
it
like
was
an
camcorders.
old, I'm sounding like an old man right now, but you know, we do the skate videos. I was sponsored younger for skateboarding.
I didn't
like,
know that.
Yeah, well, like Flow Team, I'd get free decks, I'd get
wow.
free shirts. Like this is in Ottawa, right?
Yeah.
So I always could kind of find something that I was good at. I was always different though.
Yeah.
Right? This is younger. So when I came to Montreal, hooked up with Morgan, I initially came out here for like a week. And I got myself in some problems in Ottawa, right?
Yeah.
I was living in one of the batter hoods, right? I'm always been kind of a good kid, now I'm older, right? But a good man, heart of gold, try to help people, right? But I got caught up in some things, right? And I was looking to get away. So came out here for 1 week and it turned out to permanently.
Yeah.
I mean, clubs finished at 3.
Yeah, bro.
You could smoke cigarettes in the club. I was like, the lights. Yo, Blue Dog, you know, St. Lawrence back in the day, bro. Do you remember how
Yes.
like my eyes are just twinkling?
Yeah,
I loved
100%.
it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Right. And I had a distance from like all the bullshit. I came out here alone, had my daughter young. So now we're like 19, right? Knock up a girl. I had like my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Remember I used to work at that Alco?
I did.
They actually knocked it down and built like some condos, but
Yeah, that sounds like
that's
Montreal.
like, that right in St. Henry. I remember
Yeah,
like
St.
showing
Hens.
up- yeah, I remember
bro.
showing up at work. This is what must have been like 2004, 2005.
Yeah, around then, yep.
Yeah. And I just have to like use a broom to get the streetwalkers out of the parking lot.
Yeah, this is MTL, baby.
Yeah, but now it's beautiful there in St. Hans. So I knock up a girl, and back then I always had a job, whether it was like pumping gas. Then I got into the moving, right? Like
remember
moving
that, yeah.
furniture, moving houses, commercial work. I dropped out of school 15 years old, right? This is what I kind of got led to.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I did a little well at it. So I was always making my money and the hustle came in, right? The hustle.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, I get like I forget what it was back then. Let's say like $12, $13 an hour.
Yeah.
And all these motherfuckers smoke weed, right? All these guys.
Yeah.
So it was like kind of fueling me to be self-sustainable, right? So I get my 40-hour paycheck. I got ripped off a lot. I won't lie. Being young, right?
100%,
Like
bro.
people walk away on their debts and I couldn't do much about it. But like I'd always kind of have a hustle and still maintain a 9 to 5. You know, like I'd still groceries for the family. Still like I never tried to be a piece of shit.
100%.
Right? I had questionable moments when I came to Montreal.
We all did, though.
Right? When I came to Montreal and I was like kind of looking for myself. And this is very important what I'm going to say, right? Because I used to sell some harder drugs. And when I was younger, I didn't understand it. Right? I just was a hustler trying to survive. Right? So I had no problem taking your mom's TV or your Xbox while you were sleeping for like, here, small piece, right?
Yeah.
Right? And I'll just fast track to later on in the conversation because at some point in my life, I became an addict, right? And that's
That was a moment where you kind of put things in perspective.
well, my whole life, I've kind of had it in perspective because when I got away from that, it was a very brief moment, right? I just chilled with like the weed, the hash, the organic stuff that like, you know, but when I became an addict, right, I look back on it and it's like, it was hard to get out of, right? It was hard to clean up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I was a little prick back then, right? Because like you've seen what I just said. I had no problem taking this, taking that, right? I had to leave town, right, at 15. So it's very important, at least in my opinion, for young man, young female, the mentorship. Because we're losing that. We're losing the mentorship, right? Everybody's individual, independent, wants to be unique, posting stuff for themselves, right? But that mentorship is very important.
I agree.
Because leaving young as a male, right? I love my dad to death. Rest in peace. He passed away in 2021, right? My father, we didn't get along very well. He had a drinking problem, right? Everybody goes through stuff, whether it's your parent has a drinking problem. It ain't easy being a parent, right, Tech?
Well,
it ain't easy.
You're fucking right, it's not.
So 15, like you're talking about, you were hanging around us around that age. I just raised two beautiful ladies. They're 17 right now.
That's crazy, bro.
So it's crazy. We ain't gonna talk about the crazy stories because it's been crazy. But just I missed out on some of those things, right? Like I always hustled, always got by, always did well, never had credit, never had credit cards, because I couldn't, right? But I got by. And all this built up to like a big crash in my life, right? So I always did well at work. I always did well at hustling, right? And we touched on a little bit of a topic outside. So as I'm doing well, working, hustling, right? Don't see anything wrong in selling a little bit. Well, a little bit. It's like quarter ounce, quarter pound. Now we're talking fucking pounds, 5 packs, right? Like mixed variety. Oh, send me 10, right? So now you guys are having a hard time. We're working together. I'm like, bro, you know some people sell weed? You know some people sell weed? You know some people sell hash? Yo, here's a fucking half pound. Here's a pound. What, you need 2.5 for your guy? Yo, you know a guy who's a supplier? Yo, I got the shit, right? Am I helping you, bro? If you're struggling and I give...
I mean, yeah. As long as it's not a trick question, then yes. But I mean, it also depends on where I'm at, though, right? It depends.
That's it.
It depends.
90% of people, and I'm just like picking some random high percentage, they're struggling, need real help.
Yeah.
I'm not really helping you, bro. I'm dropping weight on you. I'm going to want that money eventually.
100%.
If you fuck up or you're already struggling, spend a bit of the money. I'm not mad right now, but I'll be mad down the line.
No.
So, like this is like my mentality, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm helping people. I'm already a little loopy as a person, right? So I'm cool with you one day, but that day that I like my kid needs something, yo, I want my money. And if you don't have it, I'm a little pissed, right?
That's a problem.
Right? But that's even with lending money, right?
That's what happens when money comes into play.
But money's everywhere. Look, you guys got it on your table. You guys got it in a shark's mouth right there. And like, I'm
I like that, Steve.
very lucky to sit here today and say that I'm self-made.
Yeah.
Thanks to my father. Because I chased that stuff my whole life, man. I chased this stuff. Like, I look at it, I was trying, just by looking real quick, I was like, yo, what is it? Like 20 racks on the table or whatever.
No.
Like, I did very well at selling marijuana, right? Very well.
I remember.
Yeah, to the point that I got home invaded, right? 2013, St. Henry. Me, I think I'm joking, laughing, loving life, right? I got a permit to grow and sell marijuana. I actually still have it, right? It's a grandfather permit.
Wow.
Right? Because it's the MMAR before all this new shit.
Yeah.
Right? So we're doing good. We're growing weed with permits. We're actually helping a couple sick people.
Yeah.
Right? Because back then it was a gray zone. So if someone came to me with like, and I had like members, clients, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, they bring their script.
No, pass away on me through my career.
Okay.
So like I like dealt with somebody for 2-3 years, you know.
Terminal.
Right?
Yeah.
You're just giving the dude the stuff anyways.
Yeah.
You're flipping fucking boxes of weed. It's like, right? Have a heart.
Yeah.
You're not gonna charge this dying person.
Exactly. I hope not.
Right? Right?
Some people would though. Like, let's be honest.
That's it.
You know,
that's
like
it. That's it. But some people would, depending on their situation or depending on how they were brought up, right? Or their mentality.
Yeah.
But long story short, so we did really well. You get known for stuff like this, right? So we became target, the Wolves, right?
Yeah. Do you think like you were too sweet and like, oh, this is the guy that you can go and test?
We're talking like St. Henry, right? Like 2013.
That's when St. Henry was still St. Henry.
Right?
Yeah.
8:30 on a Wednesday, Thursday, whatever it was. It was a weeknight, right?
They kicked down the door.
Kick down the door and run in, right? Me, I'm from the streets. I got a good name with everybody. Got a heads up. And this is where, like, you know, we're talking about tunnel vision. When you're living that life, like, you ignore the signs or you boss up, right? You ignore the signs or you boss up. Home invasion. 6 people run in the house, right? 3 people get shot out of the 6 people that run into the house, right? One or 2 homies running away got clipped with their backs turned. So now we're not talking self-defense.
Exactly, that changes things.
And like we're gonna leave a lot of details out.
Obviously.
I'm not scared of talking about this because obviously I've done my time.
You did your time, yeah.
I've been through it, right?
Yeah.
And that's like something that came with it. So there's 2 mans involved, me and my partner, whatever. So now my partner is looking at actually 18 fucking years, right? For attempt of murder.
Yeah.
Because you want those guys to not come back. You want the message clear. Like
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Police show up, confiscate all the dope in the house anyways and all the money, right? Even though we're allowed to have it, they took it. So those dudes didn't get it. Police got it, right? And here I am, like, thinking I'm gangster. But I'm really shell-shocked. Thinking I'm gangster, but I'm really shell-shocked. Same thing. young man, alone in the jungle, family, 2 young kids, I think. Because this is how I got in the pen, right? We're building up
No, 100%.
penitentiary,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, I think my daughters were like 7 years old back then. I have a daughter that's mine.
Yeah.
My girlfriend, my spouse, my wife, my ride or die. Like, I'm still with her to this day. It's 15 years coming up, right? What did I do and all that? Well, I thought they were coming for me next at my house, right? So my partner it was his house with the police. They got called in, gunshots, right? Whatever. This is my house, home invasion. We were sweeping up glass. Gives them the burner, whatever. This is what I shot them with. And they're like, "Oh, monsieur," like handcuff them, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? 3 months down the line, now this guy's on like probation, right? Not probation. Let's back up. He's on a promise to appear. So he signed some papers as a victim of all this. He's out. He has conditions. He's going to court. Like, you're gonna have to deal with this. I think there was like bail was like $5,000 or some shit. Like $5,000 and a signature for another, some crazy stuff.
No.
Me, he's my brother. He's my partner. He's like, we just been through some stuff, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, bro, I got this. I'm going to keep working. You know, we need this money coming in. Lawyers, blah, 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 blah. 3 months down the line, I get picked up by SWAT at my house, right? They're looking for another burner. Sure as shit, I have it at my house.
Fuck.
Not only that, it gets like even crazier because I look like a freaking dumbass in court when they were reading the stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like sleeping. Been in a shootout not too long ago. You know, the burner's in the room when I'm sleeping. It's not under the bed. Probably cocked. Fucking loaded.
Yeah.
Right?
Naturally, yeah.
Right? And I hear a big bang. 6:30 in the morning. Actually, my cell phone had rang, like the alarm.
Yeah.
And I turned it off. And then I heard a bang. So I grabbed the burner and I go to, there was like a room, like front doors here. There's a room. There's another room. Tell myself, fuck, I'm getting robbed again.
Yeah.
And my chick checks, I had cameras. I rigged the whole house with cameras. I had bars in the windows, like, right? I was still operating. I had no other solution. Like, to remove myself from this life, looking back, is like the solution. But when you're hustling,
when you're that deep in, bro,
you don't want to be a bitch.
And but not only that, you don't see anything. It's the tunnel vision. You don't see anything else.
Yeah, some days, bro, I was bringing in 4 racks a day off weed, going out of town plus my run. Like, I was making good money, but it still wasn't enough because everything was getting invested in the business. Yeah, because trust me, when the SWAT took me away. I think my nest egg was like 30 racks. I'd never seen that much money in my life, right? Like, I was like, this is off weed, right? Oh, trust me, it all went to the lawyer, right?
Yeah,
so
it usually does.
In the pen, I got 3 years, right? No charges for any of the blah blah, right? Just for the possession of the firearm, right? When I was like kind of running around before the SWAT took me, like, people are dropping all around me. I don't understand. I'm like, fuck, this guy got busted. That guy got busted. Like my network is falling apart and I ain't understanding it, right? Even to the point, like, the night before the SWAT came and get me, it was real fucked up because and it's important that anybody hustling listens to this that has a child, right? I brought some packs to Ottawa. I was like, yo, I need this money, right? I need this money. And I bring my daughter with me. And I'm like, yo, you're going to go to grandma's house because she hasn't seen her grandmother in a while. And I knew I was going back the next day. It was just like
quick flip.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'll go see my mom real quick. Like, nothing intentional.
No.
Yo, I was being followed, right? Because I was under investigation. Meaning, when I dropped my daughter off and I told her, I'm coming back for you tomorrow, what do you think happened? Right? SWAT picked me up because they seen there was no kid in the house. No. Right?
No.
And that stuck with my daughter, 7 years old, for a very, very long time.
Right? For sure. As a young child witnessing that.
That's traumatizing.
Traumatizing.
Dude, she still lives with me to this day. She just started college, and it took me years to rebuild that. Because, like, I had to lie to her about being in the pen. Because it started off in Bordeaux, in, like, the jungle. And it's, like, no place for... You can bring your kid, but you'll traumatize them even more. Sorry.
The mic.
Sorry. So, when I was in the pen, you know, I worked on myself. I could have got tangled up in dope. Actually, you know what? I even tried a little bit, but I got like robbed a couple times, and I was just like, you know what? Like screw all this. Yeah. I did art. I wrote poems. Like contact with my family, and then like dudes started coming in and asking me like to make stuff for their girlfriends, their kids, and I had a connection with food, right? So growing up, my father wasn't bad in the kitchen. When you go to the pen, you can like choose either school or to work, right?
So you were a cook?
Well, yeah, I was like, I want to be a welder. In prison, anything you want to be, they're like, no, you're going to be...
You're a cook.
You're cleaning the showers. Right? Like, so I kept busy, and like you see it, I'm an eccentric person. Anybody that I interacted with, that I really just tried to make everybody's life better, including my own, right? So I picked up a little trade of cooking, right? I came out, the hustle got back, right? The minute I left the halfway house, I was like, yo, block mode, right? That was like early 30s for me, early 30s, right? Back at it, yo, find my old fucking phones, yo, hello people, yo, I'm just selling ganja again, right? I don't even think I was off parole yet. And it was like, you know, I was always like paranoid. And that's when the drug addiction really picked up, right? I started doing hard drugs, couldn't smoke weed, right? I was like living that life, but I'm like, I want to go back to prison, right? So I was trying to suppress those feelings. Yeah. And it was tough because people around me were all making money with me. So nobody was like, yo, bro, get it together. Yo, your family, you're gonna like I'm top dog on the chain, right? They want that work. They want my connects.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. You don't know.
Well, plus, I mean,
you're being paranoid too at that point, right?
You're being paranoid, yes, but you know, you changing your life around at that point would not have benefited them in what they were looking for from you, right?
Well, you know, it was kind of look good for me because at the time I'm a hustler, right? And marijuana wasn't quite in the SQDC yet. And I had the plug for the fire. So it was like, yo, let me put it in jars and slap labels on it. Now we're talking units. It's like, bro, I had to shut down shop because when I went to buy my jars from the like wholesaler of the jars.
Like, we got no more jars.
No, they asked me for my identification and shit. So on the bottom of the jars, it had like a stamp from the company they came from, only company in Montreal. For sure, out of like the 10 to 15,000 units that I put out of jars. Like, we're not talking about like smoke my weed and throw
pallets
the bag.
Of jars. Yeah.
It's like people are keeping that and putting their necks fucking re-up in it, right? They're like, the jar, it's legal. And it had it, just like, we're getting away from it, but it had its phases because I even remember like the first like 1,000 that went out, there was like mistake on the label. It's like not intended for fucking
human
resale or whatever, right?
Not intended for human consumption.
Putting drugs inside.
But now we're talking units. So like money, that's what I was blinded by. Yeah. It's like I've been chasing money my whole life. So now I'm very happy to say that I found a trade. Now, I never really had time to do school other than prison. Right? Find the time because everybody's like, yo, I'll go back to school. Yo, it's real tough. Any kid that's like, I'm about to tap out from school, I'm like, you're going to make it, bro. You will make it.
I mean,
but, right? Don't make the mistakes I made. And everybody's like, yeah. But it's true because it's hard to go back. So picking up a trade and the other thing we're talking about outside is owning your own equipment. Own your own, because we're talking, you're like, yo, what's this guy wearing, right? Just real quick, like I'm leaving here and I'm going to work after. I got this nice little gig going for me that I drive a backhoe at night, and I'm like, I cut all the trees because I'm a tree cutter, right? I climb and I cut trees, big trees. We were talking about terms. I either prune them for health, or there was a couple storms, so you got like big pieces that were like on houses, on sheds, on cars, in pools, and that's it. That's what I do now. How to run in music. And it's kind of weird because I always got nervous with music.
Yeah.
Always. I was like stage fright.
Yeah.
Right? Mic fright. Back when I was younger and I'd have to get up and do public speaking in school, I'd almost throw up. Like
I was really bad with that too.
Yeah. And it's almost like the hustler in you tells you got to conquer this, right? So now, obviously, I'm the center of attention every day when I'm like 100 feet. Well, you know, I rarely go 100, 120 feet because we're talking almost 3 or 4 houses, right? Like a house from ground to the roof, 30, 35 feet. So when dudes are like, yo, I was at 150 feet, like that's pretty high up, man.
That's fucking terrifying, bro.
It is. But it takes that dude. And like I was saying, I'm scared of heights. I strap myself in when I go up. I'm in control.
Yeah.
And I almost compare it like, I've never done it, with scuba diving. People who scuba dive are crazy, man.
I'm trying to get my license, bro.
Well, that's it. I'll let you talk because I've been talking a lot, but scuba diving is crazy, right?
It's fucking amazing.
Dude, oh man, I got a hard time going in a boat and thinking about if I fall in the water.
Wait, how does somebody get into cutting trees?
I'm a strong swimmer.
Like, how did you get into it? How was like, you're like, you know what? I'm going to pick up a chainsaw.
I got really lucky because it was a calling for me, right? Because at that time, I had like, what was I doing? I was finalizing being a green thumb master, right? I was into growing commercially, right? I had a job at a commercial place. I was like running like crazy hours.
Like an LP, you mean? Or?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly. But like, I was always known for like being a guru.
Really?
Like, yeah, I've made seeds, right? I've made genetics.
So
not only that, in the pen, or before the pen, I bumped into this man that was like from Rigaud. He was like, yo, I'm the seed guy. I was like, yeah, whatever. And I asked my girl on the phone, yo, go on the net and check. Because he's like, I was in Skunk Magazine. So she pulls out like the article. I'm like, oh, this guy's legit.
Oh, fuck.
So this man, about a year when I finished my parole, like, you know, I was off the books, no more PO, nothing.
Yeah.
I had gotten like a letter in the mail. It was a birthday card. And it wasn't my birthday, it had my name. So I like opened it up and there's like cardboard taped in it. So you know how like cardboard has like the wafer?
Yeah. There's seeds in that shit.
Yeah, bro. He sent me like 60 beans, I think. So 4 different genetics.
Wow.
I've like, since I had them, I ran about 3 of them and they're all super fire.
Really?
Like even like one of them, what was it? Cherry Vanilla Skunk. Yo, like Lot 420 boys were asking me for it. And I was like, right? So I always had marijuana in my life. I'm at the point now, like I said, I cut bigger trees, right? So when I was doing but when I was doing the commercial thing, like, y'all think you grow weed. Yo, I was pumping out 40 every 2 weeks. It's 40 pounds every 2 weeks. And you're like, oh, it's so much money. No, think of the labor, bro. Think of the labor.
And the costs behind that as well.
I was none of it. Like, I wasn't the cost guy. I was a worker, right? Like, I like to care for things, nature, right? Like, I'm not a goon. Right? I have a heart. So cut the babies from the mothers, make sure they root, they're going in. It's like clockwork and it doesn't stop. And for me, what kind of pushed me away from it, why I was getting irritated, and this is very important because you read between the lines, is like any talent or skill you will have, if you are not in control of yourself or cannot fund yourself, somebody's going to scoop you up and string you along. So all my love in these plants and where my seeds came from and like all this work and wholesome energy that I'm putting it in, when I'm seeing it go to the wrong places and I'm seeing like, yo, my rooms aren't adding up, right? So like all this BS, right? And in terms, you can pay me $100 an hour, $200 an hour, be like, yo, peel these potatoes. But if I know you're throwing them out, I ain't doing it, bro. And that's just me. And I think everybody should kind of have that mentality.
Yeah.
Right? Because I put my time into it. And if you're going to throw it out, it's great you pay me, but you're wasting my time because my time is more valuable with the next person. Right?
That's a gem.
Boom.
That's a gem, bro.
Right? So luckily, you know, I was starting to get very commercialized. And that's when like anything I do, like let's say I make a real nice brick of hash and I'm like, yo, bro, I like didn't sleep. I got this done for you. And you're like, amazing. I need 10. I'm like, yo, bro, did you not just fucking hear what I said? It's like, I needed 20 bags of ice. I was up all night to make, you want 10? Right? Yo, because that world is a black hole. It will always take all of your energy. I told you I always worked hard, but hustled. So where's the downfall? That illegal hustle was the thing that was generating money, but sucking money back out, right?
It's also sucking your energy because
Gem.
you got to what's
Energy,
it?
right?
It's the energy
So-
that's more
so
valuable
this is
than the money.
important because I'm getting older, and
Yeah.
energy you have less of as you're older. I
Yeah.
think we got like what 10, 12 years between us. I'm 38.
I'm 35.
I'm 35.
Oh, we're fucking way less than that. Yeah. 5 years. You said I was 19, you were 14.
Yeah, it was Emil. That was the old bastard.
Yeah. How old's he now?
He's like
but
80.
I'm
I'm
noticing
kidding, bro. I'm
like
kidding, I'm
my
kidding.
energy,
Yeah.
right? Like I got like 8 bars of energy in a day.
Yeah.
8 hours
Yeah.
for my tree climbing. I got my kids that need me.
Yeah.
I need my spouse who hasn't seen me. Like, and we've been together 15 years. I've probably been like out hustling, working, making ends meet for like 7.5 years.
Yeah.
Like she hasn't seen me half the time out of that time together.
Yeah.
That's the plight of a man in this world.
So here I am now after all that, right? And I'm looking for something new. Because you ask, how'd you get into tree cutting? I didn't know this shit existed. I really didn't. But I was looking for something new. And there was like a crossroad that happened with a clear sign and a big visit with a message. Like in my life, it was like, it's time to go get away from this. I'm telling myself, but it's just weed. And like, answer is, but it's tied to money. Tied to money. And it's true. Like we talked about how just my weed, I put you in debt. I put you in debt. You're like, right? It's tied to money. Yes, it's wholesome, but tied to money in a way, right? Because it's wholesome, you just grow it and give it out, right?
Yeah.
Right? Not charge $220 an ounce. Answering you need it, right? There's like money. Everybody's into money, and because they need it. We're not gonna get into pricing of stuff these days and like what it's been since 2019 or whatever, but we're all quite aware that you're not getting as many grocery bags, that you want to eat healthy, you better be robbing banks at night.
Everything costs money,
Right?
bro. It's crazy. Yeah.
So I decide, it's kind of actually a funny story because my daughter found a used PlayStation online and I went to pick it up for her. And when I went to pick it up, the guy opens the door. He's like, hey, Nasty. You know, one of those names I had.
Yeah.
Hey. Right? Like I like kind of stepped back from the door. And he's like, you don't remember me? And I'm like, good or bad? And he's like, it's me. No. He had like a bigger beard. I didn't recognize the guy. And I'm like, fuck, bro, I ain't seen you in like 10 years. You look good. No. You're still moving furniture. What are you doing? And he's like,
Is it who I think it is? Big fella.
I don't think you ever met the guy,
okay,
actually.
never mind.
I don't think you've ever met, but I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that was the Ratola. That was the rat.
Really?
Big fella was the rat. All right. So, anyways, wow. This guy's like, yo, me, I cut trees. I'm like, you think you cut trees? I'm like, hold up. I like go to my car, always got piff. I'm like, yo, here's like some piff, you know. Ooh, call me, grab my daughter's PlayStation. And he was like, no, but it's like, it's real good work. And I'm like, yo, bro, I'm doing the tree thing right now.
It's like I cut.
So when I was like looking for something new, I was like, cutting trees, huh? Holler at him. I'm like, yo, let me take some gigs on the weekend. 1 or 2 days, I was sold because he was working for a guy and he was the climber. So you can call them climbers, arborists, guy in the sky, right? And I hadn't seen some crazy shit yet. I just saw like, oh, there's people that go up and cut trees, like prune them, remove them. And like, I'm green. Like, it's like tree work is so vast, but you have your crew for the city, right? Because I'll tell you how it works in Montreal and all the boroughs is pretty much like it varies 10 to 15 feet from the curb in a straight line are usually all city trees. Me being I'm incorporated, like I'm my own business.
Yeah.
My majority of my clients is a service to companies.
Okay.
Yo, they call the hitman. They're like, yo, we're going to call Sean Maloney. He's going to go up. He's going to bring that tree down. If you break something, he's paying half of it. Right? Because everybody wants to go up there and like, yo, I'm going to do it. And they go to send a top and they like, the wind catches it. And instead of landing in the yard, it takes out the neighbor's shed. And they're like, whoa, what? You know, the gear was provided.
I can see that happening to me.
But it
personally.
happens. It happens. Trust me. Because 2 years, I fucked up some shit.
Yeah,
I ain't
for
going to
sure,
lie,
for
man.
sure. I mean-
I've had every worst case scenario happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I know I'm made for this. Dude, I've had a giant trunk. Some guys say like, and I'm fresh out of school. I wanted to go to school. So I invested $12,000 in these courses and everybody's like, you're crazy. You don't need school. Just stay private. You cash, everything cash. And I'm like, and this is important because my father passed away, right? Didn't do much for me my whole life. And I kind of put it there because of left young, alcohol, distance, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't able to provide me much. And I carried that hatred for a long time, that anger for a long time. But when my old man passed, yo, he worked for the government, retired from the government, right? Like his drinking, he also spent day in, day out in a cubicle inputting, right? So here I am, father passes away, right? It was real tough, unexpected. Like I said, we'll just briefly touch on the details. He actually, he committed suicide.
Oh, fuck, bro.
But he was sick. And we didn't really know. So like we found out after, right? Emphysema. So he had like all these tests and he's like, I'm sick. And we're like, oh, you know, you're just like, you gotta quit smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
You gotta, and the last 3 years of his life, and I can't forget this because it's important. He quit drinking, right? And when he quit drinking, right, I still had that anger. It's like, yo, it's too late, man. Like, you know, take care of your grandkids. Like, you see, I'm a nice guy. I got a good character, but I can be a tough motherfucker too, right? And when he passed away, all the little anger really didn't matter anymore, right? Like the fact that I like took care of myself and like paid for my own lawyers and got myself in and out of all the shit that I actually piled on myself, right? And my old man wasn't really, he's always like, hey, you know, and I was like, what do you know, right? So I get this inheritance. This is my chance. This is my chance. And my buddy's telling me like, yo, you know, you can make like $6,000 a day cutting trees. Like this guy makes $6,000 a day. And I was like, all right, it pays well. Then I see like, we didn't touch on the mental health too much, but like through this time, right, I've had my ups and downs and I've already identified that like I have mental health problems, right? It's not a crutch, but it was an explanation, right? Because everything is kind of like in a spectrum now, right? They try and put everybody in a box. Oh, you're like this because of that. You're like, right? For me, I already knew in school I had a hard time. So they said like as an adult, ADHD, right? And personality disorder. And I'm like, what's happening anyways? Right? I start checking it out. And it's like, from what I could understand, it's like somebody who never really puts like their true self out. And I'm not saying that I'm fake, just that
you have your walls up.
I have my walls up, right? And those walls, those brick walls, let's say, are stacked. And that mortar holding it together is a trauma, right? So this is like happens to people who like dudes work the block, right? Women work the fucking streets.
Yeah.
And like sex workers, right? Like they all carry this. Like you're like, yo, this broad's crazy.
It's a form of PTSD, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Because even though like I got the upper hand in my you know like episodes, yo, I struggled with that through prison. Still had like nightmares. Still had like loud bang. Kind of like just like would fuck me up for a long time. I'd have like dreams that I woke up and I didn't feel arrested because I was like, is that real or not? Right? And since I never really got charged for those things in prison, I was like, I skated through and I didn't really, like I said, I took advantage of some tools, but I didn't take care of that. Right? Like, because there was always some information that I wasn't kind of disclosing. Like it had to work, right?
Yeah,
so like I wasn't telling her like, yo, I clapped the guy, I got PTSD, right? It was like, oh, I was like on the couch and I saw nothing. So it's like now I'm starting to bullshit a bit too, right?
Do you regret that decision of not like asking?
I do. So like straight up, when you get like processed from provincial to federal, right? We're talking penitentiary time.
Yeah.
You go to what's it called? Reception. So you go to reception, you get assessed. It's like max, but you share a cell. And through that, they analyze you, they see who you hang with, they're studying you, and they're figuring out what penitentiary you're going to, right? So you're either going to a max, medium, or low. Like,
and is this like, I know in the States, this is also where they kind of just determine your recidivism rate. Like they basically determine whether or not this guy's going to reoffend 100% or like this is a one and done type of situation.
So that's it. And that's when they're like reading your case out. They're like, oh, you had like a loaded strap hidden in your kid's room.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I thought I was getting home invaded. And when I saw it was SWAT, I just fucking threw it there. Right? I was ready to clap the guy coming through the door. Like that sounds even crazier.
Yeah.
But so there's tests that you do on the computer. And I remember like being like, zip, zip. Just
right, because you're not going to be truthful in that moment, right?
But that's it, right? And that all came with the life of that hustle.
Yeah.
So being able to restart, like, let's say I said 2021, right? So 2 years ago, because I'm just coming on my 2-year anniversary of my incorporated company. So right off the hop, when I got in this trade, when I seen this guy climb a tree and cut it, I'm like, I'm doing this. I took some of that money from my father.
Yeah.
My family's like, you're crazy. Go work at Amazon. Go do this. Go do... No, but you're right. Like you have that nest egg.
Yeah.
Because all in all, the last 3 years, my father quit drinking.
Yeah.
Right? He didn't have much money before, but those last 3 years, he was able to put like, let's say $30K aside.
Drinking's an expensive habit, man.
It is. It is. And quitting it is even harder at like 60, 65.
Yeah, 100%.
I remember my father being in the hospital and them having to give him alcohol while he was in coma.
Yeah.
So his body don't go in shock. And he just drank beer, right? But they were giving him like brandy or like, don't quote me, but like some very like pure, clean alcohol, just a little bit so he doesn't fucking.
Yeah.
So, and then I had his pension. So we're talking like I'm a block boy struggling my whole life.
Yep.
Now I'm up to 3 kids. I have a son that's like, he just turned 7, but whatever. I get like, let's just say close to $250,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure in itself too, because I never wanted nothing. Can't thank the man.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, from him, right? Yeah. Just think about it. It's like, here's your fresh start, right? Now, I invested in the right gear, right? Like you kind of look, I don't know if everybody can see, but like I'm wearing my work clothes. Like these boots are like $700 boots, climbing boots. These Kevlars, I wear Kevlar. Some people don't. Trust me, $500, $600 for the pants. I got like 4 or 5 of them, right? Because I'm playing with chainsaws.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's a one mistake away from a life-changing incident, bro.
I know people missing parts.
Yeah,
right?
I bet you do.
Right? And also now, because everybody looked up to me when I was on the block. People are looking up to me now, right? My new mentors or role models ain't the plug, bro. It was those instructors at that school I went to. And school wasn't easy because I went to it in English in Oshawa. There were courses that I had to like sleep in a hotel, right? So I'd go out there for a week and I'd get my certifications.
Yeah.
But now I got cards, like literally certification cards with the courses and what, like, you can say, oh, I've been doing this 15 years and I'm the best or whatever. But like certifications is important. It shows you're serious, right? I can also rescue another climber because guys put me up there and they were all good and everything at doing what they were doing, but nobody really knew what to do in a rescue situation. And look, when you're like rescuing somebody, situation is always variable, but like general knowledge is key, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I bought some serious artillery, right? I did a little bit of research. I wasn't charging much for myself in the beginning. I was charging $20 an hour, right? And I was a climber with very little experience, right? But I had all the gear. So I'm like, what tools are good that nobody has? I found this one tool is like $5K, right? It's a crank, right? Where you can actually like lift stuff. You can defy gravity with it. Or you can like cut a limb from over a house and pull it and swing it. And in my schooling, I started learning about rigging. And that's, you know, when you're taking down an older tree, its condition is probably crap if you're taking it down.
Yeah, it's
you're
rotten.
removing it. So trees are just getting bigger. These guys that I saw and I'm like, I want to be like him, are getting older. And their techniques don't work no more. Right? They can't just cut and drop. They need like these fancy tools or at least these new rigging techniques because these trees are monstrous. Like I've taken down some trees 150 years old. Right? I did one in Griffintown. I did this massive tree next to the Fur Trade Museum in Lachine.
Machine, yeah.
Yo, massive. And I told myself, like, things happened under this tree.
100%.
Like,
Battles, probably.
but that's it. My company's called Tree Reapers, right? And it started off with just me, and it will probably always be just me and my assets because I work with affiliates. And like we said, what's important is I don't have partners anymore. I don't have anybody above me, and I work with affiliates. And I use that word because I don't mean affiliates like 8-1 or like, you know, the Italians or like, it's not no gangster shit. I mean, I have another dude who's a like-minded individual who owns all his equipment as well. So we both own all of our stuff and we're just conquering the table, bro. We are just moving. We're getting our price. We're getting work. We're loving life, right? And I'm able to put people on to go to work. And, you know, when I put people on, I make sure they have their boots, they have their safety gear, safety first, right? And instead of like putting weight on people, I'm putting like chainsaws because I had to be taught. And when we touched on it real quick, it was really hard for me with, just think about it, like guy, no experience comes in with all like fancy new stuff, everything brand new. Like people are like, yo, who the funk is this guy, right? Yo, this guy's like a jet pilot, like, so it's very hard to persist. And I was going through a tough time. Like every fucking morning I was driving and I was crying, like still thinking about my father and everything. And like I was doing some soul searching and like two dudes kind of took me aside and taught me how to climb, right? Other people, yo, I almost broke my neck one time and dudes were taking a video. That shit happens to our kids at school, right? Because it's there now. Everybody videotapes any incident. So like, you got like 3 or 4 guys standing there videotaping me struggling and almost hurting myself instead of anybody trying to help me, right? And like when
World Star.
Yeah, but that's
Society
World
we
Star,
live
that's
in.
society. Yo, trust me, when these 2 guys that taught me found out about it and saw the video down the line, like they like spoke with those people and they're like, yo, like we didn't, when you started and you had no experience, we like made sure you went home every day. We didn't like, so it's tough in anything, whether it be my trade, your trade, somebody else's trade. Like as soon as you start accelerating, right, you don't make friends. You make fake friends because people are like, hey, yo, what's up, man? You're crushing it today. And they're like, this motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, being able to restart, own my own tools, invest in my certifications, right? Like this is all stuff you do when you're young, right?
100%.
But having a chance to do it now, I'm just crushing it because I also found something I'm passionate about in life,
which is big.
You need passion.
Yeah, a man without passion and purpose is lost. You know what though? I want to circle back and because there's a couple of things here that I think we need to touch on, before we conclude, which is basically, a lot of the reasons selfishly that I wanted to have you on is because there's the Hustle podcast, right? We deal with a pretty specific demographic, I would say. And unfortunately in this world that we in this world that we're in, I'm turning into you. I'm using words out of context and shit. I'm tired, Steve. The caffeine's not enough. But no. So in this world that we're pretty prevalent inside of, there's a lot of misconceptions and there's a lot of misinformation and there's a lot of young kids that are getting sucked into this, just like you got sucked into it, just like I got sucked into it, just like you got sucked into it, which is, rewind back to when we first met. You would have told me the same story you just told me right now. I would have stopped you 25 minutes ago and said, you clap somebody? Yo, he's the coolest person in the world. Yo, my boy clap something. Like, that would have been the coolest thing in the world to me, right? Fast forward to now, I'm a grown ass man. I'm 35. I got 2 young sons, right? I'm no longer impressed by certain things. And I'm literally at a point in my life now where I've started to reevaluate my circle. I've started to reevaluate the people that I hang around. I've started to reevaluate the things that I even allow in my presence, to be honest with you. And so now, when I hear dudes our age talking about these things as though it's cool, talking about these things as though this is a flex. And I'm like, so, having actually been through what you've been through, right? Having actually done that and having to deal with the trauma that came along with that, what would you say to a young kid who listens to these rap lyrics and thinks that, doing that to somebody is the coolest thing in the world, or doing this would validate you on the streets as a quote unquote gangster?
But that's what it is. And that's why I'm here. And it's very important you said that, right? Because I had many names, I had many forms. I was into hip hop and I wasn't talking shit. I mean, of course, all of my bars probably weren't true, but like, I'm now spitting it out there. People are listening to it. People are like, yo, your stuff's hot. It's like, you're part of the, look, I gotta be careful what I say because I don't want to offend anybody, but this is why I stopped. Yeah. And I was doing kind of good with it, man. I was doing pretty well with it, right? Yeah. And what I was putting out there, like we talked briefly out front, and there was a point like in my story where I got out of the pen and I was like, I told you I got back into stuff and I came back ham, right? Like I had a big chain, had an X5 on parole, right? And the streets knew what I went in for. And I was no punk, right? And I had to keep that image going. Yeah. And I was burning one night, and there was like somebody from the younger generation. So like, let's just throw numbers out. Like I'm in my early 30s, and they're in their like you said, young men out there, young people. They're like, yo. And they're like, yo, Nasty, we respect you, man.
You're like, a fucking legend. Like,
yo, everybody knows you're a fucking shooter. No. And I was just like, not disgusted, but I'm like, this is what like what I'm leaving behind, my legacy, right? And it hit hard, man, because like that stuff, I just embraced it because that's what I was living, right? That's like, I had no other option. Nobody taught me anything else, right? Yeah. And anybody that came into my life as a mentor, well, you choose where the best food is coming from. It was not always from the most honest hand.
It wasn't great mentorship at that point. Not that it wasn't great mentorship, but it wasn't mentorship in the right direction.
But that's it, because you're always like, when you're young, you're like strung along with the carrot. You're like, yo, you put in 5 years, this could all be yours one day. Or like, yo, plug's yours one day. Or, go out and do this. And like, oh, you got Dolgers and you're going to move up. And look, so now I got an honest trade. I'm actually killing it, like straight up, because I'm an eccentric person. Like you said, you couldn't climb up in a tree. I was telling him, like, sometimes, some of the saws, bro, are like
a
motocross engine kind of style. And like, we're talking like anywhere from a 20-inch bar, so bar and chain on a chainsaw, to like 36.
Yeah, that's intense.
And you're slaying, like, some of these trees are like I said, stuff happened under these trees, some of the bigger ones. And I started off real low and I worked my way, made a good reputation. I always, like, perfect job. Like, I'm not running after private clients, right? I'll do private jobs, but everybody wants, like, oh, can you I've got quotes, like, let's say you were like, how much for taking down a tree? It varies, man. It could be like 10K, it could be 5K, it could be 2K. I could spend a whole day in your tree pruning it, right? And it could be like 2K full service, right? But the machinery is expensive. Like, I just told you, like, I got some bars that are like X amount long. Yeah. But the bar is $250 and the chain's fucking $100. So we're talking about like $350 just to have that part, right? Like it generates good money, but it takes a lot to keep it running. Yeah. My courses were expensive. Safety gear shouldn't be so expensive, but it is, right? You don't want to die. Oh, $500 for a pair of pants. My ropes, right? $250 for a rope. Your climbing device, $500. Your harness, $1,500. Your boots, right? Like, it don't stop, man. But that's why I'm saying I'm very grateful to have been able to make one smart decision in my life, right? When I had the op, I was like, how do I change? And I never had a plan. Like, I listen to my old music all the time. I love it, right? Because everything I'm spitting, I either lived it or it happened after, but like I'm trying to build a house with plans and no hammer, right? I'm trying to build a house with plans and no hammer. So you either got the plans and no hammer, or you got the hammer and no plans.
Yeah, facts, bro.
Right? So now I'm able to say, when I open my business, like 6 months, 12 months, 1 year, 2 years. When you open a business, you can't have like real credit or any recognition at the bank for the first 24 months of business anyways, right? So I'm like, 2 years, that's your probation time before like anybody's like, oh, you a fucking business, huh? You a business. You want cards, you want this. So just being able to back myself up. And I fucked up a lot. Like you were talking about, like, I'm sure shit happens. Yeah. Like there was a trunk of a giant tree that one of my guys dropped. Like he was like, yeah, I can do it. I show you how to do it. Fuck your school shit. And I literally like watched it land right on the fucking cottage in my rearview mirror as I was pulling it. I just like, not that smoking's good, but I was just like king size cigarette in and out.
I see we're getting to that time right there.
Oh yeah.
You gotta pick up that gem, dude. You've been saying a lot of great stuff about mental health. You talked about getting into business for yourself. You talked about
identifying that mental health is something that maybe I didn't put to the end. I think this is
perfect. Drop that gem right now.
If you like, everybody has something. If you identify with yourself and you find where your passion is and where you can still be functional, right? Still be functional. So anybody could pick up a trade. Anybody could own their tools, right? Anybody can open a business. That's why I'm holding this gem right now. And I don't regret the past, but it made me who I am today, right? As 100%. Well, like these crazy stories.
You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that, bro.
Right? So I really appreciate you guys putting me on. Let me just talk my ass off.
Right? Awesome. Thank you, bro.
Maloney style.
Well, that's it. That's that.
No, the jokes aside, though.
No, but that's that personality disorder. Yeah. So like, I can't get questioned too much, right? Right?
I think what's it called? From going in the pen and everything like that. Don't question me. I'm just gonna say what I gotta say.
You know what? Before we super wrap up, I think the most important thing you said in all of this, maybe not the most important thing, but definitely one of the most important things for anybody who's caught up right now, or anybody who's just looking at this shit like it's the greatest option in the world to go out and run the streets, and because you heard it in a fucking rap song and you think it's cool. You know, as I'm speaking as a father now with kids that I'm gonna have to worry about this shit in 5 or 6 years. Okay, so legacy. What are you leaving behind in this world, bro? And that's super important, because you know what? We're not here forever. What are people gonna remember when you're gone? You know what I mean? What do you want it to be? What do you want it to be? That you were a piece of shit, or that you left something behind in this world? You motherfuckers figure it out. It's the Hustle Podcast, baby.
We out.
Woo!
Welcome everybody. Y'all ready for this? The Hustle. My name is Steve Armopoulos, and these are my co-hosts. I'm Talia. And I'm Tech Luciano. You may have heard me on radio. You may have never heard of me at all, but that's okay.
Cause y'all gon' learn today. Your whole life was a struggle, had to make it out the jungle. This is a show for you. Welcome to the hustle. Under pressure, never break a fold. Keep chasing your goals until you blow. Now, welcome to the hustle.
Get well introduced to all three of us.
Y'all ready for this? You are now tuning in